Hi, I'm Rick Bogusch. I'm here at Bridge Gardens, and I'm going to show you how to take some of the best of summer produce, including eggplants like this, and turn it into a beautiful roasted eggplant and red pepper terrine. First step is to score the eggplant halves and use a sharp knife. I like to use a crosshatch pattern like this. Important not to cut through the skin. And then when you've done scoring, sprinkle it with some salt. Rub it in. Place them on paper towels to drain for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you brush off the salt and brush them with olive oil on the cut surface and place them on a baking sheet lined with parchment that's also been spread with olive oil. And then you bake them for about 40-45 minutes until they're soft and until you can, when you poke them on the outside, they dent easily. Or if you put a knife in and it goes in without any resistance, then they're done. Another important step in making the terrine is prepping eggplant that'll be used to line the terrine mold. And you want a large eggplant for this. Small eggplant won't give you enough length to line the mold with. I like to cut off both ends to make it more stable to cut, and then slice the eggplant lengthwise into approximately 1/4 inch pieces. You don't have to be real careful about that. If it's a little thicker or they wobble, that's just fine. Once you have your slices cut, you should salt them a little bit. Place them on top of each other in a colander. Just like this. You have to have a lot of salt. And then take a plate, put it on top, then weight it down. That'll help force out some of that water. And you want to leave it, well, probably 10-15 minutes, but I usually just let it go until I've done the other step, roasting the eggplant. Once your eggplant slices have drained for 10, 15 or more minutes, take off the weight and the plate and brush off the salt, like so. Brush with olive oil. Place on the oil parchment on a baking tray and roast in the oven for about 20 minutes until golden brown. And these will be the eggplant slices that you use to line the terrine mold. Once you've roasted your eggplant slices and halves, you're ready to assemble the terrine. And I have all the ingredients that you'll need to do that right here. First of all is a loaf pan that I've generously spread with butter and then dusted with Italian breadcrumbs. There's also 6 ounces of goat cheese, 4 eggs separated, so 4 egg whites, 4 egg yolks. These are the eggplant slices from about 2 large eggplants. This is what you'll be using to line the mold. I like to add in a layer of roasted red pepper. You can roast your own, or you can buy them. Just make sure you drain them, rinse them and drain them before using. There's also a cup of Italian breadcrumbs and a cup of grated Pecorino Romano cheese. And most importantly, the 5 pounds of eggplant halves that we roasted earlier. Once they were roasted and cooled, I scooped out the eggplant flesh and put it into a colander with a bowl underneath it to collect the liquid. And put a weight on top, a plate and a weight, and let it sit for 40 minutes to get some of the juice out. Don't throw that juice away. Save it to add to your tomato sauce, which we'll talk about later. And make the filling for the terrine. So here's that 5 pounds of roasted eggplant pulp that's been drained. And to that, we're going to add a cup of Parmesan cheese, Pecorino Romano cheese that's been grated. I recommend buying a chunk and grating your own. I think you get better flavor that way. And we're also going to add those 4 egg yolks to this and mix it up. You can see it's quite a dense mixture. Make sure you get the egg yolks thoroughly incorporated, because that's going to serve as the binder for the terrine. And make sure that the breadcrumbs and the cheese get nicely moistened. Now, one more step with this, and that is to take those egg whites and to beat them until they're fluffy and hold a stiff peak. And then we'll fold those into this mixture. So you whip those 4 egg whites until they have stiff peaks, and you can see, oops, I lost them, actually. You can see that it holds its shape right there, and you don't want it to be too floppy. So now take this, and I like to start with maybe 1/3 to 1/2 of the mixture, and just go in and get it all incorporated. Don't worry about, deflating the egg whites too much. This lightens the mixture, and then it makes it easier to incorporate the rest of the egg whites once this is done. And you just want to make sure that you don't have any large streaks of egg whites. And voila, we're ready to fill. So now we're going to actually line the terrine with the eggplant slices. Now remember, the terrine, or in this case the loaf pan, has been spread with butter and then dusted with Italian breadcrumbs. Look for a couple large slices and put them down at the bottom of the mold. Make sure you got it all covered. If you have to cut a piece or overlap them a little bit, that's no problem. You can just tear them and line the bottom like that. Then take your other slices and place them like so that they're overhanging the top of the mold. And so there's our terrine mold, lined and ready to be filled. Now comes the fun part, where we fill the terrine. Here's the mold, lined with roasted eggplant slices. Here we have our mixture with the breadcrumbs and the Parmesan and the eggs and egg yolks and egg whites. So take about half of this mixture and place in the mold in the bottom. And I like to press it down a bit to really get it in there. Then let's have a layer of goat cheese. This is 6 ounces of crumbled goat cheese of your choice. Let's put that in there. Spread it out a bit. press down, and then add a layer of roasted red pepper. And this can be sort of a patchwork quilt, because it will all look different in the finished product. And you know, you can tear some pieces off and put it in, and then maybe press that down a bit too. Then add the rest, or as much as you can, of the eggplant mixture. Spread it out. I think it's okay if it's domed up a little bit, but maybe don't overfill it. Okay, once you've done that, bring your eggplant slices up and over like this. Maybe press down a bit, and take this and put it in the preheated oven, 400 degrees for 45 minutes, or I think an internal temperature of about 150. Once your terrine has baked for 40-45 minutes, reached an internal temperature of about 150, take it out of the oven and let it cool. I like to refrigerate the terrine overnight, and I usually weight it with a brick wrapped in aluminum foil just to kind of press it down a little bit. And when you're ready to actually serve it, or what you want to do is take your pan, take a knife and run it around the loaf pan, around the edges, invert it onto your baking dish or serving platter, whatever you're going to be putting into the oven to warm it up. And sometimes it doesn't release right away. What you can do is take a very hot, a towel that has been soaked in very hot water, lay it over the pan, and it'll melt the butter and the terrine will release. So Kathy, tell me what you think.
Looks beautiful, smells even better. Oh my God, just so good. Rick, I think this is your best terrine yet.
It's a great way to use up summer vegetables and create something special. You could serve this, you know, as a luncheon, or as a first course in a dinner party, or even, you know, as an appetizer.
And I love the cheese in the middle and the red pepper. It's a great idea.
And the tomato sauce is made with Quail Hill Farm tomatoes that were roasted in the oven, then pureed and mixed with olive oil, garlic. I threw in a couple of extra red peppers that were left over and whizzed those up in there, and then some basil in there.
Wow, it's really good. As always, so delicious. I feel lucky. Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad you like it.